a question on the forum, was like, hey, I have a blog. Is it cool if I post a link if I have a trail report? I didn't want to like break any rules of the group about like self-promoting or anything like that. And like the admin came back was like, you're taking pictures and talking about hiking, please post it. And so I just kind of like threw one of them up on there, like just like, okay, hey, here's a hike. And it got a lot of response. I mean, I get probably over 120 people looking at every post, which, I mean, and I don't really do any kind of advertising. I'm really bad at SEO and, things like that. But now I get over 100 people reading every single post, which is kind of astounding to me. I never thought, I thought maybe my mom and my sister-in-law might read it, but, now I'm getting like random strangers that kind of like comment on the Facebook group or emailing me and stuff like that about either a hike that they really liked or ask me more information about it, or kind of, hey, I'm a little out of shape too. What should I do to start get going on it kind of thing? Cause they kind of see where I started from. They read other hikes and they're like, oh, okay. This is something I can do. And that's, it feels really good. I didn't make it with the idea of, doing anything with it. I just wanted to document for myself. And if anyone else wanted to read it, great. My grammar is probably terrible. I'm not a professional writer and I make fun of myself a lot. So if you don't like self-deprecating humor, definitely don't read it. But, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, and the overarching point is you're doing this for yourself. So obviously, setting out without the goal of trying to spread the word and make yourself, semi-famous.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter as long as it makes you happy. And that's the same thing with this podcast. My expectation isn't to start raking in cash right off the bat. I'm doing it because, this whole COVID lockdown thing, I wanted a way to reach out and just talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I figure if, we have a good conversation, maybe other people enjoy listening to it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Back to your hiking thing. One quick question.
Yeah.
That first hike, I've been reading your blog. That first hike you were talking about, sucking air and being out of breath. Even though you'd lived here for a long time, the altitude still affects you? Like you haven't gotten used to it?
Not so much the altitude. I think I was sucking breath because I decided on my very first hike to do a hike that was 14 degrees out when I went out there. And I think that got me more than anything. My very first hike going out, like I got up in the morning and I kind of talk about it in the blog and I look at the thermostat in my car and it said like 27. And I'm like, okay, it's cold, but you know what? I got to get out there. Once you just got to get the first one out of the way. That's always the hardest one. Well, what I didn't realize was I was reading my thermostat in the garage. So as I got out of my car in Broomfield and drove down to Boulder, I just constantly watched the thermostat drop down and down and down and down. And when I got there and parked, it said 14 degrees outside. And so I definitely think the altitude played a part in it, but I think the cold along with the altitude was there. And I was actually in, like walking around like the flat ground on a sidewalk is one thing, but it's a totally different thing. Even when you just start going on any kind of an incline or stairs outside, it makes a big difference. And it definitely, it got me that first one. Like, it took me back. That's for sure.
I know. I did a little bit of hunting this spring and, I picked out a spot where I was like, yeah, this looks like a good spot. And you get up, you park the car, you start walking up the hill. And within 20 minutes, like you said, you're hunched over going, because I'm out of shape too.
Yeah.
And, oh man, just getting used to climbing in that different terrain is tough.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
Did you do anything before you decided your first hike to try to maybe get into hiking shape?
Oh no, I just went out there. That was the first thing I did. Because I kind of picked a trail that had some like bailout spots. It was a little loop. It's called the Stranahan Loop near Boulder. It's still really gorgeous little loop, and it's about 3.5 miles or so. And I was like, you know what? I didn't have anything else to do that day. If I have to take forever doing it, it's literally just a walk. I should be okay. I wasn't in anywhere that was like a dangerous hike that I'm like going to get hurt. And I just knew that I could make it through no matter how much I hated myself by the end of it. And, second wind is a real thing, you get out there and I kind of started walking at first and my legs got a little stiff. And then I stopped to take a little break. And then, 4 people running go right past me. Like I'm standing still and I'm like, why are you running? Running is stupid. But, and that was like maybe a quarter mile into this hike. And these people are looking at me like, seriously, dude, you're taking a break. But, I got around the loop like 2/3 of the way through and it was really winded at first, but then you kind of get to that point and it literally just becomes one foot in front of the other. And I started enjoying the outside and stopped thinking about my breath and stopped thinking about, whether I was out of shape for doing this, and just started enjoying where I was at, and, just put my one foot in front of the other. And, you get done with the end of the hike and you're like, oh, I can do this. And that was, that it's as easy as that.
In the beginning, was the physical aspect of it more difficult to overcome, or the mental aspect of what am I doing out here? Everybody's making fun of me. That self-conscious kind of feeling.
A little bit of self-conscious, but like I think, and it's been reaffirmed as I do it. I think one of the reasons I really enjoy hiking over a lot of activities, and why this is something I'm going to want to keep doing for a really long time, is that it's an activity with skill, but no competition involved with it. Like, you don't go out on the trail and like somebody like runs past you or walks past you faster. They're not thinking, oh, look, I'm beating that guy. And you're not thinking, oh man, they're beating me to the top. Like, there doesn't really seem like, I don't feel that way. If I now pass someone, and I don't pass very many people, mind you, still, but if I pass somebody, I'm never thinking, haha, look at that guy going slow. And I never felt that way with other people passing me. I think hiking is more about the shared experience. So like, if you get to the top of a hill, if you get to do an overlook or something like that, and there's another person there, that person had got to experience the same trail that you did. And it doesn't matter if they did it faster or slower, they're there. I mean, there's no such thing as like the best hiker in the world. There's people that have done lots of hikes, but like, there's not like a professional hiker out there. It's more of a shared experience and sharing that place and time. Like on that really cold day, when I got back to my car, every other person getting in their car got to experience that 14-degree day as well, and got to have the challenge of that as well. When you get to the top of a mountain, whether they pass you on the way up or not, when you go and sit on the top and there's two other people up there, you both busted your butts to get there. And, you're both happy for each other that you got to experience it together. And so I don't really think, I mean, there's physical and mental. I didn't really feel, I don't know. It's weird. I don't really feel like the hiking has ever been like a pushing down barriers and walls for me. It's more just doing it. Like, I think so often we have a all or nothing mentality about things. And it's like, if I can't be the best at something, I'm not going to do it at all. And I think like for me, hiking is all or something. Like, did I get to the top of that mountain today? No. But did I get pretty far up there? Yeah, I did something, and that's just fine. And I think like for me, like hiking is like an all or something. And that's the reward. That's the success, is that you went out there and did it. I mean, so what? You didn't get all the way to the top. Look where you got to,
And especially, you take your daughter out on a lot of hikes. I take my two boys out on a lot of hikes. So, we went out today. We went to the, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the river, the Poudre, the Poudre.
Yeah, the Poudre. Yep.
Poudre.
Yep.
I'm going to have to talk to somebody about that, because it doesn't feel right to me. But I took my boys up to the...
I think you'll have to talk to the people that were on the land way before us.
I'll figure it out. I took them up there, and was Gateway Natural Area, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to hike to Seaman Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have known better than to make that plan, because we didn't make it probably a third of the way, maybe half of the way. They got distracted, wanted to play in the river. And the biggest obstacle for me to overcome is I wanted to get there so badly, but I've got to alter my plans to accommodate them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's where that something part comes in. I just have to realize, okay, at least I'm out here. We walked a little bit. I still get to see the river and at least get my kids outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think whenever I plan hikes with my daughter, Emily, she's 8 years old now. I make sure I pick ones that have like really cool milestones all along the trip. Cause there are a lot of hikes where like the really cool thing is at the very end of the trail. It's either like top of a peak or a mountain lake or something like that. And I'd say if people are going to hike with their kids, find a hike that has like 5 or 6 different, like really cool points that could be the end. And then you as an adult still feel like, wow, I got to that part. But if they ain't having fun, you're not going to have fun. We can push our kids to go further, and, you should push them a little bit, because they can't just give up. But at the same time, if they're like genuinely tired and they're cranky, then the rest of your hike isn't going to be fun anyway. So like that reservoir, how much fun would that reservoir have been if you like dragged your kids all the way up there and they were hating every minute, as opposed to like how much fun did they have in the river? You know, like
And they had a lot of fun on the river, that's for sure.
exactly. So, you know, like, so I kind of like find ones that have like, maybe like, I know there's like a couple waterfalls along the way, and then there's a cool lake, and there's a hill after that. And it's like, and every time we get to one, then I kind of like stop and ask them, I was like, hey, this is really cool. Guess what's just beyond this? And they go, what? Well, there's a cool waterfall just on the other side of this lake. Do you want to go see that before we head back? Oh yeah, I want to go see that. You know, so I kind of like use those as stepping points. The other thing is, I kind of mentioned earlier, we do a lot of geocaching as well. And I don't know if you've ever done that with your kids, but,
No.
geocaching is amazing. It's free. You just download an app on your phone, and it's basically GPS treasure hunting. And so you have little either pill bottles or ammo cans or Tupperware containers that are either buried or put underneath a rock or by trees, and you use GPS to find them. And then inside them is a little logbook, and you write your little geocaching name. You can make a username on the website, and you write it in there and put the date you got it. You can log it in their little app. But also there's lots of little toys in there a lot of times. So like kids will leave like Hot Wheels or little trinkets or coins or dice or things like that. And like really the only two rules of geocaching is put things back where you found them exactly, so other people don't see it. And if you take something from the cache, you have to put something in there. And so we'll find trails that have 15 geocaches on a loop, and we'll go hike that, because then my daughter is like not thinking about how far she's walked. All she's thinking is, hey, we're only 300 foot away from the next cache. Let's go, Dad. I want to go find it. And then when we find that one, then we load the next one in along the loop. And they kind of like, it makes it a game for them as we go around too. So if you haven't done that, I would highly recommend trying out geocaching. It's free. You can pay like $30 for a yearly membership, and you get access to what they call premium caches, which usually just have a little bit nicer stuff in them. And really the fee is just so like random casual people don't like mess with caches. So it's kind of like, if you paid like $20, you're more likely to not, you know, destroy them or be stupid kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's sort of like hiking with kids. I'd say that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's I've never done geocaching, but I'll try it out now.
Yeah. How old are your boys?
They're 5 and 3.
Oh yeah, the 5-year-old is going to love it. The 3-year-old's going to tag along, but like the 5-year-old's going to love it, and he's going to try to make you do it all the time.
Well, if it gets him outside, because he's got a real bad problem right now. He's a Minecraft junkie.
Yep.
So getting him out the door, but it's so strange. Once I get him out, he loves it.
Yep.
It's just getting him to get to that point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of getting up early in the morning for my daughter and a wife. If like they'll come hiking with me, but they hate how early I get up in the morning. So
well, that's one of the things I noticed with your blog. Your wife and your kid seem to be very enthusiastic and supportive of you doing this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because I choose to go hiking at a time of the day that wouldn't interrupt what they want to do. With owning a business, it's very, you know, there's only so many hours in the day that I get to actually spend time not in a business way. Like, you know, my daughter will come to the shop and my wife works there too. But like, you know, like to be actually at home, there's so little time that we have that I try not to interfere with what they want to do. And so like hiking also worked that I could get up super early in the morning, and most of the time I'll be back before they even wake up in the morning. so that helps out a lot too. But they like going hiking with me. They hate that I wake them up early, but as soon as we get on the trail, they're really thankful that I did, you know. So it's one of those. So once I get beyond the like, you know, grumpies in the morning and get them in the car, then everything's okay.
and you know that kind of speaks to your level of research and planning and prepping and the amount of effort you put into this. You know, if someone wants to get into hiking, how important is it for them to really get down to the nitty gritty and plan their hikes?
I think to a certain extent, especially now, especially with COVID-19 in effect, some trailheads were closed in Boulder area and things like that. Some trails get closed just because of the mud. We have very clay ground around here, and so if it gets muddy, it's not safe for the trail and for people to be there. So I mean, I use the All Trails app. Alltrails.com is a great resource and website. There's also Cotrex, Cotrex, which is a newer Colorado-based website and app. Which are really great for finding hikes. You can find reviews by people. So I can like go on there and like see somebody 2 days ago was out there and they say, oh man, this is muddy, you shouldn't go out there. Or, hey, you need to bring trekking poles or you need to bring spikes, which is really good. You can get distances, elevation. You start realizing really, really fast when you start doing a lot of hikes that a hike that looks like it's not that long because of the actual length is super duper tough because of the elevation gain. I learned that on my second hike. I did Mount Sanitas for the second hike, which is only 2.7, like 2.75 miles long, but the elevation is